Hey, what's good, my fellow masters? Finally, the official announcement of our 19 million downloads campaign has been posted, and it will begin on December 5th, 2000 PST, lasting until December 12th. As I've discussed in my recent SQ count video, there is a good chunk of tickets and SQ to be gained from this milestone campaign. There are 2 login bonuses, and to be eligible, Fuyuki is all you need to have cleared. First, we have the 7-day consecutive login bonus, providing the usual assortment of rewards we have come to expect from these, ultimately leading to 10 summon tickets. So please remember, if you break your login streak in the middle of this, then you will not be able to get those 10 tickets. The second is a 4-day cumulative login bonus of some mana prisms, an HP and attack gold foe, plus a rare prism, something always nice to see. Now, what about the Saint Quartz from this campaign? Well, there are new extra missions being added, 10 in all, that reward SQ for raising a craft essence to thresholds of every 10 levels per mission. So starting at level 10 to eventually level 100. Unfortunately, those 4-star commemorative type CEs that we get from time to time, where they're already at level 80, those will not count towards these missions. However, these missions are retroactive, so if you already have CEs that meet these thresholds, then you should be able to claim the rewards immediately. And if you don't have any CEs leveled up yet, not to worry. These extra missions are permanent, so you can work towards clearing these missions at your own pace. There will also be limited time master missions as well. There are 7 limited missions altogether, which all involve to proceed and complete any main quest in Part 1 and Part 2. Effectively, you just need to play through the story. Do so, and that will net you 2 Saint Quartz and 1 Leyline stone for each mission. And these missions are also retroactive, so if you have already fulfilled the mission criteria, then the rewards will be immediately available to claim. Also note that the pseudo-singularities and main interludes will not count towards these limited missions. So between the 10 extra missions and the 7 limited missions, you can gain up to a total of 34 Saint Quartz, which is more than I had estimated in my previous How Many SQ video. I'm a little surprised at this, as I was expecting only 2 limited missions for this downloads campaign. The reason I thought this is we already had 5 of these limited missions placed earlier in the main quest story completion campaign that ran from July 23rd to September 13th. So I figured they were just moved up, as it were. But it turns out it was more like a bonus. Either way, it's really nice for us, because more SQ is good civilization. Now, along with the Leyline stone rewards from the limited missions, there is also a one-time login bonus of 3 Leyline stones for every master. Eligibility for this is to have cleared Fuyuki Section 3.1. Newer players may wonder what Leyline stones are. Basically, they allow for continuing a battle if your whole party has been wiped out. So it's an alternative to using up 3 command spells or Saint Quartz. Of course, they have limitations, like only being usable in main story quests. This includes the pseudo-singularities as well. In addition, Leyline stones can only be used up to January 31st. That's their item use period. After that date, they will become unusable. So if you're still making your way through the main story, these Leyline stones can be quite handy when tackling some of the more difficult and gimmicky story boss battles, especially the ones found in the later Lost Belts. There will also be a cost reduction for the main quest. AP will just be 1/4 of their original cost for the Part 1 story arc and through to the Part 2 story arc, including the Olympus Lost Belt 5.2. But the pseudo-singularities are unfortunately not included. So for those that are relatively new, this is a good opportunity to catch up on as much of the story as possible. Now, I just want to take a moment for a quick PSA regarding upcoming event participation requirements. The next event will be the Christmas lottery in the latter half of December. Don't worry, as this will only require Fuyuki to have been cleared. Nothing too demanding there. But as we get into the new year, early January, the expected event rerun of Saber Wars 2 has a higher participation requirement, which is to have cleared Solomon. Now, if you're still very early into the story, then I think between now and the beginning of January should be enough time to finish up to Solomon. And I do recommend participating in Saber Wars 2, as I think it's a really fun story, and probably my favorite among events thus far. After that is Little Big Tengu, where you can get the Welfare 4-star assassin Kichi Hogan. Fortunately, the requirement to participate drops back down to just Fuyuki, and pretty much all the events after that follow the same requirement through to the latter half of the year. Getting back to our 19 mil downloads campaign, there will be double the chance for super and great success enhancements of servants and craft essences. This comes just as the Thanksgiving bonus to enhancements ends, so it's very nice if you didn't get a chance to really make use of it during the Thanksgiving campaign. There will also be an AP cost reduction for all free quests, but just for the first time they are cleared. Unfortunately, there is a requirement for this part of the campaign, and it is to have cleared Lost Belt 5.2 Olympus. I suppose the high requirement is to encourage players that have yet to reach Olympus to mainly focus on clearing the main story quests. All of the Ember Gathering and Training Ground quests will be unlocked for the duration of this campaign, so instead of having to wait for a particular day of the week to farm for a desired class, all will be available at the same time. There will be a new seasonal 5-star craft essence release, Take Romance, featuring Dr. Romani taking one of his usual snack breaks. Some cake and coffee would be good right about now. The effects of the CE increases QP and Master EXP gained by 1%, or if max limit broken, the QP and Master EXP gained increases to 5% each. 5 copies of the CE can be purchased from the Mana Prism shop, but will only be available there until March 31st. Lastly, the 5-star CE Great Detective Foumes, which was initially released during the 4th anniversary, will be available through the Rare Prism shop. It will cost 1 Rare Prism to unlock, and from there 5 copies of it can be obtained from the Mana Prism shop. Though if you already had purchased 5 copies, then it will be unavailable for exchange in the Rare Prism shop. Fosun, doing his best impersonation of Sherlock, provides a 1% to QP and bond gained, or for an MLB copy it will be 5% QP and bond gained. For the summoning banner of the 19 million downloads campaign, fans of Raida Illustrated Servants rejoice, for the limited SSR caster Murasaki Shikibu is back on Raida. Along with Raiko, Kintoki, and recently Ibuki Doji, lots of Raida servants floating around it seems. Now, I'm quite fond of Murasaki, both for her sweet personality and because she was my very first NP5 SSR, although that was actually unintentional, but nonetheless memorable. Murasaki can bring quite a lot to the party. She can debuff the defense of all enemies, increase the party's damage against demonic enemies, seal one enemy target's NP for a turn, along with a self-charge to her MP gauge and a 3-turn buff to her MP damage. Furthermore, Murasaki can grant the party a one-time debuff immunity and buff removal resistance, plus a flat damage cut, all of which can be useful in some of the more gimmicky battles. Her anti-demonic niche goes further, with the overcharge effect on her MP dealing extra damage to demonic enemies, along with providing a 1-turn buff block status to all targets. Admittedly, her NP is the least damaging among SSR AoE casters outside of her niche, but she can still perform rather well when obviously supported by Castoria. And within Murasaki's niche, well, her performance becomes exceptional. I also think her overall kit has plenty of good utility for the party, so much that I find it can outweigh her NP's relatively low non-trait damage. That said, if you already have any of the other AoE SSR casters, or even the Welfare SR caster Sieg, then Murasaki is probably less compelling unless you really like her or want her anti-demonic niche abilities. However, if you're looking to fill the role of an SSR AoE arts caster, then Murasaki can be a very solid addition to your Chaldea in my opinion. Though I suppose the timing of this banner can be rather poor if you're saving for the onslaught of 2023 servants starting with Muramasa. Fortunately, Murasaki will have a couple of rate-ups in the future, with the next expected in February of 2024. Also on rate-up are the craft essences from the Valentine's 2021 event, and among them is the 5-star Bitter and Sweet, featuring an adorably surprised Ereshkigal, I guess trying to hand out chocolates with an amused Ishtar looking on. I think this particular CE is interesting and can be useful in situations where you need immediate invincibility coupled with an increase to NP damage and all attack scaling. Well, that's what I had in mind when I first got it, but I have yet to use it in that capacity. But surely a time will come for it. Or, at the very least, you can just admire the rin-faced artwork. Well, that's the breakdown of our 19 million downloads campaign. Overall, the SQN tickets are probably nicely timed for those needing to do some last-moment saving. If you happen to be rolling for Murasaki, then best of luck on those summons. Many thanks for watching, and please don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed it, found it helpful in some way, or both. It really helps out the channel. Anyways, enjoy the goodies from the campaign, and see you in the next one. Cheers all.